All right, finally got this roof and it's in all right condition. It was out of a fire damage car. I just kind of threw it on there for the time being. And I'm gonna clean this thing up first. See, a lot of this metal needs to be replaced. It's a little out of square. We're gonna start cutting some things apart and get this thing back in its general shape. This actually was pretty warped, and someone else put some fiberglass on top of it. You can see here. But my general thought is to take this off and put some more metal on it. This metal is really thin. I would have thought it would have been like 16 gauge cold rolled. This is probably maybe 22 gauge, 20 at best. It's pretty thin. Yeah, excited to make some progress. The thought is to get this thing in place, and then once I have this in its place, it's really kind of the foundation that all the other panels can reference this roof. Got this thing upside down, just kind of inspecting it, seeing how much work I have to do. Just kind of some general thoughts there. Those are things that I can probably just fix there, those cracks, just weld them, correct them. I'm gonna replace these, rebuild them. I'm gonna try to keep as much of this original as possible. Clean this stuff up. I'm gonna probably just remove this entire hinge beam, because I do have my hinge beam here, and this thing's much more solid. And one of my biggest concerns when I first started building this chassis was the issue of safety, and just having real legitimate concerns about the safety of it, just driving, dealing with crashes. And then when I kind of started seeing like Lamborghini's parts and how they welded things, I felt very confident, because you can look at this stuff here. This is a car that goes 200 miles an hour, and I'm like, okay, I'm good. It's definitely not impressive. You look on parts and you can see where probably like a journeyman welded that, or a senior tech, and here you got an apprentice or something. It's kind of laughable, but we're gonna clean this up. All right, got this cleaned up and kind of somewhat in position here. It's interesting to see how really accurate those NARC chassis are to OEM. You can see my hinge beam here from the original roof lines up perfectly here with the NARC hinge beam, and then we're perfectly flush back here too on our firewall. I just set that on there. A little bit different here. We're roughly about, I'm gonna say 3/4 of an inch longer on the hinge beam, but those are just minor things. But generally fits pretty decent here. I got these fiberglass fender door jams made, and they fit really good. So I'll be able to cut this out and bond to the original steel. Pleased with that placement. I think right now what I'm going to do is probably just cut this beam out here and then attach to mine. I think I like mine better. I think it's going to be the easiest thing. And then we just got to raise that up a couple inches, get it in its general place, and then square this thing up. I think we'll be pretty good. All right, after 4 hours of cutting and grinding, got this thing cleaned up. Had to use a Dremel, a flex, and cut and wheel, grinder, and carbide bits. But I did get this thing cleaned up and got some of this metal, damaged metal cut off, hinge beam cut off. This was probably the hardest part, to get some square tube cut in there and get that cleaned up. That way we can put our new steel in on both sides. This thing is pretty warped. I found out these rails were probably modified. So we're gonna probably have to make new A-pillars. I got the majority of all the parts I wanted to get cut off this done. So it's kind of in its general location. It definitely has a lot of warpage in this, so I'm gonna have to do a lot of correction here. I'm gonna probably rebuild this whole entire piece here. So the roof is on, and I'm gonna go ahead and do a little bit of welding. I'm gonna start by setting these two rear points right here and the back side. And that's going to give me kind of a reference point. Really right now, I set that as low as possible for the deck lid. For the deck lid to clear the top of these nuts. I have concern that the Murcielago engine is a little bit taller than the Diablo, even though it has the dry sump. But I'm not sure. But we'll start with that. Let's do a little bit of welding. All right, I just want to get a couple good strong tacks. We're going to take this roof off, and then we're going to square those posts up with that roof off, and then go ahead and put a few more tacks on it, and then reset it. All right, just going to put a straight edge on this firewall here, clamp it to it, and then go ahead and weld it, and that way we know we're fairly straight. And can manipulate it a little bit if need be. All right, we are inside. I have a center line on the roof and then also the firewall, and so we're lined up perfect. I got a little bit of play here, a 1/16 of an inch. And then on the side, same thing there. I'm gonna pull this thing back off and just kind of see how center line this angle is to the center of the chassis. All right, so those are actually pretty perfect. We are only about a 32nd of an inch off, so that's nothing to fuss about. We're just gonna keep that and throw this roof back on, and that's gonna be kind of our reference point. Well, it's raining. I'm gonna wrap up. I got this rear part set, so I'm happy with that. This windshield was out of square, so it's actually looking pretty good. I was 1 inch out of square, which means it needs to move a 1/2 inch to square it up, and that's kind of right where we're at. This needs to shift over a 1/2 inch, and the same thing here, and then that will give us a squareness. So we're good there. I'm gonna remake these A-pillars somehow. I don't really have the correct tooling, but I'll figure that out. Should be fun. But I think that's gonna wrap it up.